Okay, thank you for joining us again for What's New in QuickBooks 2022. We're focused heavily in enterprise, obviously, on this training series. These couple of weeks where we're going through what's new, we are going over things at a pretty high level just so that you can get excited, I guess. In future trainings, we are going through in depth on each of these items. So things to consider, the things that you need to know, right? Knowledge is power when it comes to anything enterprise, knowing how the system's going to respond when you do certain things. So this is more of an introduction, and we'll go into a deeper dive in another session because there's a lot to cover because there's a lot of new things that came out, which is great news for desktop. So I'm Marjorie Adams. I'm the CEO of Fourlane. I am going to go ahead and just dive right in because we have so much to cover. So let's go ahead here. This week, we're going to be talking about first, approvals for bills. Just going to let that sit there for a second. This is a very exciting time for us. This is something that we've wanted in the QuickBooks Enterprise space forever. This is one of the biggest reasons why we see people leave QuickBooks is because they need an approval solution. And so this is definitely the first step in moving towards having that great solution inside of our enterprise product. So let me go ahead and jump in product here. We're going to be doing most of today as much as possible in product. So where do we go to find and enable approvals? You're coming up here under company, and you have to go to set up approval processes. Now you will have to log into your Intuit account when you first do this. This does not work in a sample file, so if you're trying to test this before doing it in your live file, you'll have to set up kind of a dummy file first, okay? You cannot do this process in a sample file. So we come in here to set up approval processes. You will have to log into your account. So let me go ahead and show here. And so the first time that you set it up, it's going to ask you to log into your Intuit account so that you can make sure that you have the proper permissions to set up approval processes, basically. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go back in product again. So you can see here I already have one set up. Currently, you are allowed to have one setup for bills only, right? That's the approval that they have that rolled out in October of this year. So my guess is the fact that they have set up a new approval process, they have this whole screen here. My guess is in the future, there will be more added, right? Not just bill approval. So when we come in here, the first thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and set up a new approval process. Okay, and again, you can tell here by all this white space, I'm assuming in the future there will be other transactions over here that we're going to have approvals for. Things that you can maybe speculate, so bill payments, that would be something, maybe an approval that we'd like, maybe purchase orders. In QuickBooks Online, they have an approval for invoices, which didn't really make sense for that to be the first go-to approval that people need. In our space, maybe estimates, maybe if you need to approve everything that goes out the door or things based on certain criteria. Journal entries, I think I would like to see that one as well. Being in the accounting space, but for functionality, I mean, bills is a great place to start. So I'm going to go ahead in here and say set up, and it notes a couple of things. Only one approval process can be activated for each type of transaction. So we can only have one setup for bill currently, okay? You can assign only one approver for approval processes currently again. So it's just something to keep in mind. Steps forward, right? And the best thing that we can do to help so that we have more approvals showing up in the future is to use this and provide feedback, right? Intuit listens heavily to its users. So use it, provide feedback on what needs to be added. Down below here, we can put in a description. So again, having a description tells me that future state, we will probably have, you know, bills over $1,000, bills for internal, bills for project managers or whatever it is. So it tells me that there's going to be some future state things possibly coming. Then we have our conditions. So there are currently 3 conditions. So you can do things based on bill amount is greater than, equal to, less than, all the things. And then you can do an amount. So I could say greater than or equal to $500, and I can even add or less than equal to $10,000. I don't know why you would say at $10,000 I don't need an approval, but you have the ability to add those both in here. Okay, so you can add one singular condition. You can add multiple conditions. So the bill amount is this, and the vendor is within, and then you have to select your vendors that you want or not within. You also can choose vendor type. So only certain vendor types are the ones that we need to have approvals on. Now, especially because there's just one allowed in conditions currently, in bills currently, I say be as generic as possible. So bill amount over $500, that's what we want to have approval on. Okay, so be more generic in the beginning. You get too specific, especially if you add in things like vendor types. What does that mean? That means that, vendor type is not a required field, right? So it means that we have to be very clean or have some checks and balances to make sure that all vendors have a vendor type and that we're putting in accurate vendor types as well. Keep it high level. Then we have down below here the actions. So the bill will be approved by, and then we have a user list. This is one of the first times ever that we've seen a user list used inside of QuickBooks, right? Not based on a sales rep or based on an employee. This is based on a user. So I love seeing this built in products. So the bill will be approved by admin. I strongly suggest, we always do this with all of our enterprise customers, admin should be rarely used, right? We don't want people doing day-to-day operations logged in under admin, because generally there are a couple people with that admin password and username, right? IT has it, maybe your Fourlane consultant has it, maybe the controller has it. So there could be multiple people that have that. So we recommend not using admin. We recommend having a user set up who is the approver. And that user who is the approver is logging into their user account. They might have access to the admin password, but they are using their user account for the day-to-day. That is best practice. So then we want to say send email notification to also. I just have admin in here, but again, I would suggest these two to be the same, and it would not be admin. If it is not approved within X amount of days, send a reminder. Okay, 7 days is pretty long, but you know your time frame. Okay, and then down here we can say, who are we sending it to? Email admin. I can add a CC if I want to, add an email in there. Marjorie@fourlane.com. Let's see if I can spell. I can also add in a BCC if I want to. So again, this is just extra steps if we needed. The subject, so I can modify some things in here. So bill, and then it'll put in the reference number, needs your approval. Hi. You can add their name in maybe. Hi, Marjorie. The bill, 1234, from creator name. So that would be whoever the user was that created this, and company name of the bill is awaiting your approval. To approve, go inside of QuickBooks and approve. Thanks, Fourlane, right? So the bill 1234 from Marjorie, Fourlane, is awaiting your approval. Thanks, Fourlane. Okay. We have the opportunity to save this, and then we also have the opportunity to save and activate it. So you can save a couple in there, but only one can be activated currently. I'm not going to save this because I already have some things set up in there. Okay, so coming back into our slide deck, I just want to mention you guys will have this slide deck too, so you can see through it, goes through all of these steps with us, and we can go forward. So then we have the approval process is set up already. And we're going to move over into looking at the dashboard inside product. So we have two menu options up top here. So we have the templates that we created and where we can set the templates. Then we have the approvals over here, okay? So you can see I have my bill. My description was just bill. It was updated 9/27. I have the ability to edit, deactivate, or delete this over here, okay? So if I edit it, you could open it up and see what I have. I have all bills greater than $500, going to admin, going to admin. Just like what we had before. So now I am logged in as the admin currently, right? Because that's, you have to set it up originally. So I am logged in as the admin currently. When I come in here to enter a bill, I can set up a bill for, let's just do vendor 123, really exciting vendor name. I wonder if anybody has that name, vendor 123. I did not put a reference number in, but let me just go ahead and put one in. It's going to be for $505 for advertising and promotion, and I can go ahead and say save. Now notice, it just lets me save it because I'm the approver. I don't need to approve my things, right? Just goes ahead and lets me save it. So let me go ahead and log out as admin, and I will log back in as a test user. Okay. Take a second. So things where I see this as being super helpful, obviously if we're adding in any AP clerks, especially in the beginning, this will be very helpful for us to be able to utilize those AP clerks to do some of our data entry and still feel comfortable that they're doing it correctly. Okay, so now I'm logged in as test, who is not somebody who is an approver. So first thing I want to do, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to go to Sam's Parts, log some 1212, and log in $450. Hit save. Bing. Oh, that beep. Let me turn off the beep real quick. Oh my gosh. I don't know if you guys can hear that on the video, but so I go ahead and say save, $450. Everything's fine. Lets me progress because it's outside of our threshold. Now let me go ahead and do a different one. We're going to do to vendor 1, reference number 888, and this is going to be for $585, again for office supplies, and I can go ahead and say save. Now look, it stops me. Wait, so there's two things that are really important here. So the first thing is it says bill needs approval. Would you like to send it for approval now? So I can send this bill for approval if I want to, because it's finalized. If I'm not done with this bill, I have the ability to save it as a draft. This is something new that you can do inside of QuickBooks Enterprise. So I can save it as a draft. And when I save this bill as a draft, why would I do that? Maybe I have a really large bill and I need to pause to go to lunch. And you know what happened before? People would save a bill and they would go back and they would edit the bill and it would show up in the audit trail, and maybe somebody looks at it and says like, why did they just lump it all into this one area? There was no draft status on bills. So that's a big deal that we have that now, okay? If I look at my AP aging report in here, under vendor 1, I probably have some, no, I don't have anything in there. I was gonna say I probably have some stuff from some other bills, but I have nothing in there, okay? So 585. Now I come back in here and I'm say, all right, I'm ready to finalize this bill. So you need to edit the bill to remove it from draft status. They don't have like a checkbox, remove from draft status, not up here under edit, remove from draft status. You need to edit the transaction. So something that you might do maybe is put final in here. Maybe I add my customer job because I should have that in there. I don't have class tracking turned on, but maybe I should, and I didn't add the class. I finalize it in here and I say save. It says, would you like to record your changes? Yes. And then it pops up and allows me to send for approval again. So I'm going to go ahead and send that one for approval. Okay. Now notice the status changed up here to pending approval. At the same time, when I go into my AP aging, still not showing up on my AP aging report. If I go into vendors pay bills, It is not on my pay bills list. It is in a true pending status, not posted, which is pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and do a new bill as well. I'll do it to the same one, vendor with different reference number for $1,200, and just say save, just so that we have two for approvals. Okay. Now, if we go in here to our app, you can see some of the things. So here is a copy of the email that it sends out to me. Bill 1234 needs your approval. Bill 1234 from test, that's my user. From this company, that's the company name, right? On my company file is awaiting your approval. So that's what they can expect to see. So let's go ahead and close and log off, and we will go in as our admin again, since that is my approval in this, my approver in this situation. Open and go in as admin. This year, QuickBooks and all the changes that they had have me going back and forth between my PowerPoint and my QuickBooks more than I've ever had before, which is good, right? Because that means there were a lot of things to set up. Now, once I'm in here, I have the ability to come in to track and approve transactions. Okay, so it's logging in and telling me. Here are the two bills that we just created. So they're sitting in a pending status. I can also look at rejected bills, approved bills in the past, or all. I do kind of like looking at all, because you can see that the grayed out ones are the ones that are, pending. You can see that they're all taken care of, and grayed out, approved, rejected, etc. And then the ones that are not, that are pending approval are down here that I can edit something. But again, I'd see the same thing here in pending. But I do like looking at all too. This is a dashboard, just like any of the other dashboards where you do have to refresh. So if somebody said, hey, I just put in a bill, can you please approve it? You got to go in here and hit refresh. Okay. So from this screen, I can go in, look at the bill. Oh, looks like everything's going okay. Everything looks great. I can go ahead and approve this bill. So I've looked at it over here on the side. I can say approved. At this point, that bill is now approved and posted. It's moved to my approved list. If I go into my reports, vendors, payables, AP, aging, there it is. Okay, posted. The other thing that I have the ability to do is come in here and say, oh, you forgot to put in your customer job, rejected, enter job, please. So use the notes here, use the memo section here. If you have things print out on your pay stubs or your check stubs, you want to be aware of where you're typing these things. But we can go ahead and put that in and say save. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I can edit. I'm sorry, I did it wrong. I have to hit reject first, then I can edit it and say why it's rejected. Okay. Now, at that point, what happens again is that it fills in to the person who sent it over, your bill has been rejected, so you have to go look at it, or your bill has been approved. So they get notifications as well. Now, when you set up who can submit for approvals, they have to have an Intuit account too, right? Because it has to be linked to an email so that they know who to send out your bills approved, your bills rejected. So again, you have to reject it first, and then you can go and edit it and say why if you need to. So notice we do have the approvals list up top here, so you can also get to that approvals list on the bills themselves. We have in here some of the errors that you could possibly see. So if they go in and they are not set up with an Intuit account under their user, or they're not logged into their Intuit account under their user, then it'll give them these errors down here, right? Your Intuit account is not linked to the company file, contact admin. That means the admin hasn't set it up yet. Or then also too, they need to sign in to their Intuit account as under their user. Okay. Again, we're going to go much more in depth in a future videos. This is just kind of a high level to see how it works, all the ins and the outs. There are always things to be aware of in any feature release inside of QuickBooks, or any feature period inside of QuickBooks, so that we just know how to handle things like audit trails and when we pay and what's best practice around rejections and all that stuff. So we'll go through that in a future 30 minutes where I have the whole time to go through just this feature. So a couple things just to keep in mind. Why is this so helpful? So security, both for management and employees. Employees like protections just as much as management likes protection. So having approval processes helps them to feel confident in their work, and they get that you've been approved, and they feel like they're winning. Efficiencies, so we can have draft status on bills. We don't have to, not post the bill or post it to the wrong account and come back later. And then accountability, being able to have rejections. Right now, if somebody forgets to put in a class, what do most people do? They go just fix it themselves, and then they can't hold their team accountable for what they were supposed to be fixing. So it's great to have that rejections option. Okay, next product feature that we're going to talk about today is choose from multiple customers. So when we go in and we set up a customer on the customer list, and this is for vendors also, by the way, it's not just customers. But when I go in and set up a customer, I have all of these fields, right, that we have: home phone number, all other, if they have 4 URLs, I don't know, Twitter, Facebook, you track all these things in there. But we had 4 that are tied to emails: main email, CC, alt 1, alt 2. Okay, so those are options that we can fill in inside of a customer or a job. Now, the jobs can be different than the customers as well. So you can see that in here. I have different ones for the customer too. Now, if we have any transactions that we need to email to them, we can come in here to our send forms as per usual. And I have the option now of a drop down of those other email addresses. Okay, so I don't have to remember, copy and paste, go type them in again. So on each of them, whether it's I'm choosing best job ever, I drop down. If I choose job 1, drop down, I see different email addresses, right? So as you go through your list of what needs to be sent, you can have those. The other thing is, let me just get rid of that. I don't know what I've got something broken. The other thing that you can do is that you can now add emails in here as well. So Marjorie@Fourlane.com. I can add that email in here, and it will include them on the list. So pretty cool stuff. Very simple change, but more efficient, right? It makes us more efficient. The fact that we can just drop down if we need to email accounting and CC the project manager when we're sending out invoices, we have an easier way to do that now. Okay. Very straightforward. Okay, so this last point, I'm just going to be staying inside of my PowerPoint here. So there is a new partnership in QuickBooks Desktop, which I'm super excited about. So QuickBooks acquired a company called TradeGecko a couple years ago, and that is what QuickBooks Online uses for QuickBooks Commerce is what they're calling it. Not a lot of people who can use this product. One of the things I recently learned in that product is that you can't have inventory turned on in your QuickBooks Online file at all if you're going to be using QuickBooks Commerce. So just in our space where we have a lot of manufacturing, wholesale, distribution companies, lots of people with inventory, not going to work, right? We have to be able to have inventory in our file and available in our e-commerce area. So in QuickBooks Desktop and in QuickBooks Enterprise, they did us right. They partnered with the best company out there, which is WebGility. A lot of our clients have already been using WebGility. Most of our customers who have an outside commerce system, marketplace, anything that they're using, we are setting them up with WebGility. So there is now a direct integration. So previously WebGility would connect through the Web Connector. Now there is direct integration in product, which is an amazing, amazing thing for our customers, right? Especially if you watched last week, we talked about the 64-bit changeover and the web connector was not updated yet. I don't know if it will be, to be able to utilize that 64-bit processing speed. So the fact that it's in product means we are able to take advantage of that, which is super cool. So I'm just taking you through kind of some of the slides, what it looks like, because I can't take you through this in a demo. When it comes across, you have the option to have your data come across as a sales receipt, or it can come across as a sales order, depending on where you're going to do fulfillment. We do have some clients do fulfillment directly out of WebGility. Some clients do fulfillment out of most clients do in the enterprise space do fulfillment out of QuickBooks Enterprise. Okay, so you can see it comes across with all the details, or you can have it more simplified. So some of the things that are super important with this integration, first and foremost, we want to keep up with inventory. Holy cow, with what this last year has been, inventory, supply chain, I mean, we hear it, everybody hears it all the time. Out of stock, not available. I mean, it's everything from juice boxes that my kids like. We've seen Halloween decorations. I mean, it's just across the board. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. You've seen it somewhere. So why is this so important? This allows us to sync inventory between multiple sales channels. Your web store, if you have one or multiple web stores, Fourlane used to have multiple web stores. If you have Amazon, Etsy, eBay, right, all of these different channels, we can sync it all up between all of them. If you are out of stock, remove automatically from Amazon, from eBay, from your multiple web stores with different brands, okay? You can allow out of stock levels at different levels per item, right? So you can say for this item, if we get below 1, then take it out of the web stores. If this item gets below 10, because it flies off the shelf a lot faster, then take it out of my web stores. You can create items and sync to QuickBooks, so a single point of entry for items. You don't have to go in and create them in your web store and in QuickBooks. That's really cool, single point of entry. You can do fulfillment, as I mentioned, out of WebGility or desktop. Also, you can do pricing updates across all channels from a single point of entry. Right? Do it once. Let software do the rest. You can see here with when you sync it to QuickBooks, there's going to be a lot of different preferences, okay, that you can have. So when we go through the setup with customers, we generally are doing it with WebGility because there will be things on their side that they'll recommend, and there will be things on our side when it comes to workflow design for you that we recommend. So it is good at teamwork. Then, of course, the other things that we have that are pretty cool is that it allows us to do certain things that we can't do in QuickBooks. Like they have this concept of quantity in a pack, okay? Packs are used, so like let's say we have a case of wine, okay? Or 12 bottles of wine, which we could turn into a case. In QuickBooks, a lot of times when we're having to maintain inventory, we'll say, well, we have 12 bottles of wine, and then we will have to make it into a case of wine. And then we have to ever break apart that case of wine to sell an individual bottle, then we do that. And in WebGility, they have the concept of using packs. So you can say that there are 12 bottles or 6 bottles or whatever it is in a pack, and then they will tell you how many packs are available if you sell them in packs on your website. They call it packs, but it can be a case of whatever it is. Pretty cool things. Some of the things that we have as choices in here, again, I just want to point out, so price and quantity syncs, right? Make sure it set quantity to 0 if it's negative. So if we have negative quantities on hand in QuickBooks, we have some workflow issues, we should talk about it, but we can set quantity to 0 so we're not reflecting a negative quantity somewhere. We can round, right? So just some of the options here. I want to make sure you guys feel comfortable with those. Whoops. Okay, so a couple things to keep in mind. I know we're running out of time here. It might go a little bit over, but you can automate transactions. Okay. Import transactions from different channels as sales orders or sales receipts into QuickBooks. Let your customer do the entry for you. They are keying in they are doing your data entry. They are keying in their order. Let them do the data entry for you. You should never have to do that data entry again. Post individual or summarized transactions. So some of our companies that we work with actually don't post daily sales or individual transactions in their QuickBooks file. They have such a high volume of transactions that we'll just post weekly or monthly, and it'll summarize the entire month. But what that means is the details are kept somewhere else, right? So you gotta keep that in mind. You can track marketplace fees, sync sales tax collected, and record shipping and merchant service expenses automatically. Why is this so important? Fourlane always talks about data for decisions. You want to have data so that you can make decisions. And in the e-commerce space, you need to be making decisions quickly because there's a lot of spend driving people to that web store, that website, and you want to make sure that it is effective and efficient and that things are going through, right? So what are our top products and sales? There's a lot of dashboards inside of WebGility. What are our top performing channels? Sales by location, average order value. Average order value, that is a big one. You should always be looking to drive that number up. And then you can access this data on both mobile and web. Also, again, I mentioned it before, but Amazon sellers, working with Amazon is so painful. And so you can update things inside of WebGility and it will send it to your Amazon account. So pretty cool. Pricing, so as an enterprise customer, you will have better pricing, preferential pricing. So just let us know if you guys need to take advantage of any of these. We can't do anything on the pricing, but just wanted to let you know how it is. I know people look at this, they go $129 a month. That's almost as much as I pay for my 2 years of QuickBooks Enterprise. However, how much to key in orders? How much are you paying to key in orders? How much are you paying to update all the web stores and websites with pricing and quantities and everything? This price is so small compared to everything else. I just saw here the numbering's out of order here, or not out of order, but kind of stacked funny. But so just remember speed. One of the big things for this year with QuickBooks 2022 release is speed. Sync every 30 minutes from the store, QuickBooks tracking, into QuickBooks to the tracking to the store, right? So lots of updated communication from customers, single point of entry of information, and automation of transaction entry. Those are a really big deal. So I had one more thing that I wanted to go over today, but I don't think we have enough time, so I will push it to next week. Let me go ahead and push forward in slides. Get a little preview. Oh, 2 more things, actually, it looks like. So QuickBooks Enterprise Future Courses, it looks like we might have 2 more weeks of what's new because we have so many things to cover, which is great news again. Why is that great news? Because Intuit is investing in this desktop product that we love so much. We're also going to go in the week after that, Accounting Explained for Inventory, Cycle Counts. You can read through. These are just some of our future courses coming up. So we look forward to seeing you on those. As a reminder, why our customers are so successful in the QuickBooks Enterprise space is because we focus on getting you data to make decisions. And in this day and age, we need to do that quickly, and you need to trust your numbers. Okay, so call us if you need help. I hope everybody had a good session today, took away some little nuggets, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks, guys.